Jason Statham is a working man. It's the brand new David Ayer movie with Jason Statham. This one written by Sylvester Stallone, mind you. And what's it about? Well, pretty much the same thing every Jason Statham movie is about. He's a working man, a former special operative for the military who's left that life behind but is pulled back in when his found family needs him. Because it's all about family, Bahir.
I hate this so much.
Wait. So, this is based on a series of novels by Chuck Dixon. There are 12 books, Bahir.
God damn it.
There are 12 Leave-On books. The first one is called Leave-On's Trade, a vigilante justice thriller.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to check them out.
Yeah, you do that, my friend. You do that.
12!
I'm surprised that they could do 12 things with this story.
That's what I'm curious about.
Okay.
There are plenty of Grey Man books as well. But that's like international espionage and spy stuff. So it's like James Bond. You know, you can travel the globe looking for new adventures.
Yeah.
Does he just go from construction site to construction site solving people's problems? Is that what happens? I don't know.
That just makes him a construction kung fu kind of thing. You know, like David Carradine Kung Fu, where he just goes town to town solving people's problems.
So Jason Statham plays Leave-On Cade. He's just a guy who wants to be left alone. He works construction these days. He works for Michael Pena and his family, who are this just lovely Latino family who own a construction business. And their daughter gets kidnapped, unfortunately. But she doesn't just go missing. She doesn't just get kidnapped. It somehow escalates into this human trafficking thing because the Russian mob are involved. Only it doesn't go beyond one person being human trafficked. It's not like Taken, where there is a syndicate and Liam Neeson's daughter is one of the kidnappees. No, in this one, everything just focuses around Jenny and this one individual who wants to pay for something with her. It's unclear whether it's sex or just torture or weirdness, right? Leave-On gets roped in by the family because they were the only ones that looked out for him and gave him space and patience when he needed it most. And so he's like, I will do this for you even though it's a life I have left behind. He also has a daughter and a dead wife and the daughter's grandfather who has majority custody because he has led such a violent life that the state has deemed him an unfit father. And there are all of these weird side plots going on, as well as an incredibly large, oversized moon in every night scene for some reason.
Dude, David Ayer has never seen the moon, I think.
No matter how many days pass, the moon still looks full. Like there are phases for a reason.
Dude, it's not just that it's full.
It's massive.
Fucking massive. It's so fucking low. Are we sure that the apocalypse hasn't started and the moon isn't hurtling towards the planet as Jason Statham is trying to save these women? Because that moon's fucking huge. It's comically large.
It is.
Comically large. Yes. Sorry, please go on.
And it appears in every night shot.
Every fucking night shot.
I don't know why.
He's always just so happened to be shooting towards the moon. It's always in shot of the camera.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie, and I don't know why there is so much stuff going on in this movie. When I saw the trailer, I just wanted Jason Statham to go around killing bad Russians. Surely that's enough for a movie like this. But instead, much like The Beekeeper, Ayer decides to introduce all of these elements. Like if you remember from The Beekeeper, it wasn't just about getting revenge on scammers. Suddenly the president's son is involved and there's Secret Service and CIA and all of these unnecessary complications that get in the way of a good old-fashioned revenge show. Like Michael Pena's in this for 10 minutes. David Harbour's in this for like 5 minutes. And then the rest of it is this mishmash of Jason Statham hunting Russians, but not quite, because it isn't quite as visceral and violent as you want it to be.
Also, it feels like David Ayer doesn't know how to shoot fight sequences anymore. Unless it's just because Jason Statham's getting old and he can't do multiple sort of moves anymore. But like,
maybe
it's just shit ton, a lot of cuts, and everything's in the dark. I'm just like, this is not cool anymore. Ayer, not cool.
Like, don't get me wrong, I understand the appeal of these sorts of movies, right? It really is a fantasy. When the world around you is going to shit, when you can't do anything about Donald Trump or corrupt Malaysian officials, and everything is getting you down because you feel kind of powerless, like there are scammers scamming your loved ones and you can't get to them. Watching a movie like this is pure escapist fantasy, because here is a guy that's doing all the stuff you want to, and they're getting their comeuppance. They're being brutally murdered without mercy, and you're like, you deserve that, you asshole. And I get that. I get the appeal. But sometimes I feel like the movie tries to do too much and it dilutes that appeal.
It's weird because this is one of those things where I'm always saying that an action movie needs a story. And I feel like David Ayer adds 2 elements too many to try and make this an air quotes story, right?
Yeah.
The beekeeper doesn't need the super secret double CIA beekeeping organization that he was a former member of, and then suddenly the scam center is related to the president's son, who is then also somehow related to a CIA program that he had designed, who is also then the reason for his mother being the president because of bad electoral math. Too many things. What's her name from Umbrella Academy is in it. Completely and utterly wasted.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why are we doing this, right? And I think the problem with A Working Man is that too many things. Okay, the David Harbour thing is kind of cool, but the thing about Jason Statham's daughter, Jason Statham's father-in-law, the fraught relationship they have, but it's also just patched up in the movie at the end of it. It's just like, why are we doing any of this? Why is any of this necessary for this story?
All of the story threads that are introduced within the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie, and it really starts going very quickly, but all of the individual story threads that are introduced aren't actually followed through on, with the exception of the one that involves Levon saving this girl from the bad guys.
Yeah.
Everything else is kind of dropped or dismissed half-heartedly. And I think that feels like a waste, because I was telling you as the movie ended, I could use an epilogue, maybe a minute or two, of them just tying up all of the crap they introduced, because it feels like they did it for no reason. Because sure, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to establish character. You're trying to establish that here's a guy who is sacrificing everything so that he can pay lawyers to get custody of his daughter, and he's living in his truck and he's brushing his teeth there and all of this stuff. But at the same time, that's all it does. It just introduces character within 5 minutes and then goes, you get it, right? You get it? You get it? This guy sacrifices everything. Good guy. Good guy. Okay, move on. That's it.
It's character motivation written by AI.
Yes.
It's so that you can say, as a writer and the director, you can say, Jason Statham is a fully fledged character. He has a daughter that he's fighting to get to. He's got a father-in-law who's a dick to him. He is saving all of his money because he needs to pay for lawyers. Okay? Now let's go watch him kick ass. None of it matters anymore. It's just so that you can say he is an actual character.
And then there's all of this John Wick light stuff going on with these Russian Brotherhood secret organizations and code of honor and conduct and all of this. It's a lot, It's a lot of world building for nothing.
Yeah.
Even the status they place upon him, because he hasn't encountered any of these high-ranking Russians in person, and yet they immediately go, the devil is coming for us. I'm like, you don't know this guy. You don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah.
Like, we, the audience, knows because people have told us already, but you don't even know his name, and yet you're He's not the Baba Yaga. He doesn't have that reputation yet.
But also, I think it's hilarious because when they start saying that, he had only killed 6 people? Wow. Calm down. This is not an earned title just yet.
You're the mob. Surely more people die in a week than what just happened.
Yeah.
In case you're curious, Bahir, the second book, because the first book is on the missing girl. So I'm assuming a working man, that's what it's based on.
Right.
Second book, a gang of vicious criminals make the world their hunting ground as they search for a cache of hundreds of millions in stolen currency. Their search brings them to a snowbound community in the dead of Maine's vicious winter. They came one night to torture, rob, and kill, but they picked the wrong night. Levon's night.
What the hell?
The book is called Levon's Night.
Jesus.
You know what's great? I'm subscribed to Kindle Unlimited, so I can get it for free. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you do that, my friend. That just seems like a... It sounds lame. I'm sorry, but that description sounds lame. Because, hear me out. So it just sounds like Levon's got a bad luck in life. Because anytime he tries to do something, somebody just yanks his chain and makes him kill people.
Maybe. I think that's it. Let's put it this way. On the scale of Stathamness, there are good Statham movies. There are mediocre Statham movies, and then there are bad Statham movies.
Okay.
I would say that this is a mediocre Statham movie.
Mediocre to bad.
Don't get me wrong, even the good Statham movies aren't great.
Yeah.
Aren't great as movies, but they're still a lot of fun. Like those Transporter movies, shit ton of fun. Beekeeper was a lot of fun, if overly complicated. Like the first half of the film, when he starts raiding those scammers, I'm all in. And then when all of the conspiracy theory stuff kicks in, I'm like, too much! Back off!
Unnecessary.
Too much! And this one feels very choppy. Because I think they were trying too hard to fit in all of this Russian Brotherhood mythology and take a leaf from John Wick and make him this weird, shadowy character. And it really took away from the visceral fun of having someone hunt down and kill bad guys.
Yeah.
I wasn't having fun in this movie, and I should have been having a lot more fun.
I found myself to be very fidgety in the cinema, and that's normally not a very good sign. I think it's also because they tried to infuse story, right? Anytime there's a murder that happens on screen or Jason Statham essentially kills a bunch of people, he then suddenly stops and has to tell a story.
Yeah.
You know, he goes and visits Gunny, and it's not even just like a cool visit to Gunny. It's a talking, emotional talk to Gunny. And then he goes and kills more people. Then he suddenly goes and talks to the daughter. And then he goes and kills more people. So it just keeps... It's as if David Ayer doesn't want to make a killing Jason Statham movie. He wants to tell a movie with a story, air quotes, just wrapped around Jason Statham wrapping people's brains around things.
I guess we gotta wait and see what the Beekeeper Part 2 is gonna be like, because that's coming soon.
Oh, God. Look, can I just say, I'm happy for Jason Statham. He's getting consistent work, completely in his wheelhouse, not having to stretch.
He gets a lot of work.
Yeah, and I'm very, very happy for him. I just don't know if I want to keep watching it. I will say this. At one point in the movie, I think about just past halfway mark, when we had seen the sheer ridiculousness of a David Ayer film, I turned to you and I said, I would love to see a David Ayer Transformers movie. And I'm still there. I think that would be pretty cool. And I want to see Jason Statham in not a David Ayer movie.
The other thing you said to me was, why is this guy poor and living in his truck, but still driving around in a fancy new truck and having a nice iPhone? And at one point suddenly has a really cool chopper motorcycle type thing. And none of that seems to make any sense at all.
No.
Because he's living in a fucking hole. When he finally has to rent a place to prove to the lawyers that he has a home, it is just this disgusting hole.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if he's doing it because he wants to prove it to the lawyers and the court that he has a registered address. I thought he was doing it just so he can have a wall.
So he can have one of those crime walls?
Yeah, because that's what he ends up doing, right? You don't actually ever see him sleep. He just does the crime wall thing. And I'm like, maybe that's why he just needed a hole in the wall. I mean, he could have gone to a WeWork. It'd probably be more conducive.
Because Levon doesn't need sleep, Bahir. He just hunts the bad guys.
No, I know, which is why, like, just go to a WeWork, right? Get a little cubicle, you get a nice wall, air-conditioned, nice lounge music, free coffee. It'd be awesome.
A Working Man opens in Malaysian cinemas tomorrow. That's Thursday, March 27th. If you do happen to check it out, and we're pretty sure many of you will, because, it's Statham. If you do check it out, let us know what you think. You know how to reach out. We're on Instagram on GogglerMY. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my or send us a WhatsApp on the Goggler hotline 012-524-5208. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.